You know, one of the things that separates the 95%er from the 5%er is that the 95%er will spend more time planning their summer vacation than planning their lives. Is that the way you want to be? Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, we inspire. And we're in the midst of a series on how successful people think from a book by John C. Maxwell. Strongly recommend that you read it. We've gone over that there are different, just as there are different ways that you dress depending upon the scenario that you're going to encounter, there's different ways that you think for different situations that you're going to encounter. We've gone over big picture thinking, creative thinking, realistic thinking. When you hear the words strategic thinking, what comes to mind? Do visions of business plans dance in your head? Do you conjure up marketing plans, the kind that can turn a company around? Perhaps you contemplate global politics, or you recall some of history's greatest military campaigns. You know, strategy doesn't have to be restricted to military action or even to business. Strategic thinking can make a positive impact on any area of your life. So plan your life and live your plan. You know, you observe that most people try to plan their lives one day at a time. They wake up, they make up their to-do list, and then they dive into action, although some people aren't even that strategic. Fewer individuals plan their lives 1 week at a time. They review their calendar for the week, check their appointments, review their goals, and then get to work. They generally out-achieve most of their daily planning colleagues. You know, one of the things about Japan that makes them so great as a business entity is that their thinking isn't quarterly or yearly. They think 5 and 10 years down the road. That's one of the reasons why they do very, very well. So why should you release the power of strategic thinking? Strategic thinking helps you to plan, to become more efficient, to maximize your strengths, and to find the most direct path toward achieving any objective. The benefits of strategic thinking are many. Here are some of the reasons you should adopt it as one of your thinking tools. First, strategic thinking simplifies the difficult. Strategic thinking is really nothing more than planning on steroids. Spanish novelist Miguel de Cervantes said, and I quote, "The man who is prepared has his battle half fought." Strategic thinking takes complex issues and long-term objectives, which can be very difficult to address, and breaks them down into manageable sizes, chunking them down. Anything becomes simpler when it has a plan. Strategic thinking can also help you to simplify the management of everyday life. How do you do that? One way is to use systems. That's something that I do, which are nothing more than good strategies that you repeat over and over again. As an example, I have a strategy. Every morning I wake up, give myself quiet thinking time. I plant myself in my comfortable chair and I allot that amount of time. Strategic thinking. It helps you to develop a system. Strategic thinking prompts you to ask the right questions. Do you want to break down complex or difficult issues? Then you got to ask the right questions. Strategic thinking forces you through that process. As an example, for direction, what should we do next? What's the most productive thing I can do at this very moment? Why? Organizationally, who's responsible for what? Do we have the right people in the right places? Finances, cash. What is our projected income or expense or net or cost? Can we afford it? How can we afford it? Tracking what you're doing. Are we on target? Overall evaluation. Are we achieving the quality that we expect and demand of ourselves? Refining your scenario. How can we be more effective and more efficient? How can we move more closer to the ideal? Now, these may not be the only questions you need to ask to begin formulating a strategic plan, but they're certainly a good start. Let me give you an example. When I was in the sales business many years ago, one of the things that you wanted to do during sales time, which was the evenings, because that's when most people were home, I was going into people's homes and selling mom and pop, was I wanted to spend that time in front of clients. I didn't want to spend that time making appointments. I wanted to make the most use of my time. So what did I do? Well, on Sunday night, when most people are home and they're relaxed, that's when I made my phone calls to make my appointments. So I would set up appointments all through the week on Sunday night. I'd give up my Sunday night to do it. And then during the week, I'm just going from place to place to place making presentations. That's how you make the most productive use of your time. Does that make sense? You can see that kind of a strategy evolves in virtually any endeavor that you're looking to pursue. Strategic thinking prompts customization. General George S. Patton observed, and I quote, "Successful generals make plans to fit circumstances, but do not try to create circumstances to fit plans." That's what a lot of people do. All good strategic thinkers are precise in their thinking. They try to match the strategy to the problem because strategy is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. Sloppy or generalized thinking is the enemy of achievement. The intention to customize in strategic thinking forces a person to go beyond vague ideas and engage in specific ways to go after a task or a problem. It sharpens the mind. You know, when I was coaching and we'd be setting up practicing our defense, always had specific things. As an example, we have the two guys that are one guy that's forcing the dribbler to the sideline as an example. And then when that person got to the point and the guy turned his head, then the other guard would come over and set up the trap. And when that happened and the trap was set up and the guy with the ball was like, uh-oh, then the other three guys knew, boom, here's why I attack the passing lanes and make the steal. But you gave them things to look for, certain triggers to put you into action, because timing is so essential in whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Strategic thinking prepares you today for an uncertain tomorrow. Strategic thinking is the bridge that links you where you are to where you want to be. It gives you direction and credibility today, and it increases your potential for success tomorrow. It's like saddling your dreams before you ride them. One of the things that I strongly recommend that you do, if buying a new car is something that's on your bucket list, when you achieve a certain goal, that's the reward you're giving yourself, then go to the car dealership and sit in the car, smell the new car, take it for a ride, feel the power of the motor, enjoy the luxury of where you're sitting, the seats. You follow what I'm saying? Get that implanted in your brain. Strategic thinking reduces the margin of error. Anytime you shoot from the hip or go into a totally reactive mode, you increase your margin for error. It's kind of like a golfer stepping up to a golf ball and hitting it before lining up the shot. Misaligning a shot in golf by just a few degrees sends the ball hundreds of yards off target. Strategic thinking, however, greatly reduces that margin for error. It lines up your actions with your objectives, just as lining up a shot in golf helps you put the ball closer to the hole. The better aligned you are with your target, the better the odds that you'll be going in the right direction. 6. Strategic thinking gives you influence with others. There's a story about one executive talking to another one. He says, our company has a short-range plan and a long-range plan. Our short-range plan is to stay afloat long enough to make it to our long-range plan. Unquote. Well, that's hardly a strategy. Yet that's the position where some business leaders put themselves. There's more than one problem with neglecting strategic thinking in that way. Not only does it fail to build the business, but it also loses the respect of everyone that's involved with the business. The one with the plan is the one with the power. It doesn't matter in what kind of activity you're involved. Employees want to follow the business leader with a good business plan. Children want to be with the adult who has the well thought out vacation plan. If you practice strategic thinking, others will listen to you and they'll want to follow you. If you possess a position of leadership in any organization, whether it's the head of a family, the head of a business, the head of a church group, strategic thinking is essential. Once again, huge shout out John C. Maxwell for telling us more about strategic thinking. And let's add that to our arsenal. Let's put that on our resume, be able to do it. Once again, learning the different ways to think that make a person successful. Remember the most important one though, which is never to ration the passion, it's to fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.